or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show.
Uh-oh. Oh, well, praise Jesus. Well, I want to welcome you guys to the Kim Jacobs Show. We are here, the authors of Breaking the Silence, Unleashing the Power of Your Voice. I'm sure Kim will be returning momentarily. But in the meanwhile, where'd she go?
Amen. There she is.
We love technology. Oh yeah, technology is right. I think with me having everyone connecting to, stream to multiple places, I was like, I think it's crashing the site, but it's okay in a good way. Listen, everyone, welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. It's going to be quite a few of you in today because I see a lot of streaming happening. And we are excited because we have some great news. We have with us Dr. Paulette Harper and several of the wonderful contributing authors to the book Breaking the Silence. So finally, this book has made it to the market. Dr. Paulette Harper, she is the author and visionary behind many, and I say many because she can tell you how many books, and we're going to hear about that, books that have been bestsellers on Amazon and international best-selling books. So I'm so honored to have you here with us once again, Dr. Paulette Harper, Christina, Sheena, and Parker. How are you all today?
Good.
Wonderful.
How are you?
Doing good.
Well,
y'all look like y'all ready to break some silence, right?
Oh yeah.
Do it.
Good, Kim. That's good.
It really is, because at the end of the day, there are so many things that people, all of us, we hold in because we don't want anybody to be hurt, or we don't want anybody to know, or we don't want anybody to see us in a different light. It's a lot of different reasons why people break or remain silent is what I'm thinking. But it's time to break it according to what you're saying, right, Dr. Paulette?
Exactly. It's just what you said. We hold things in because of those reasons. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. We don't want the backlash. We just somehow want to forget it, but we just can't forget about the things that have happened to us. This really has shaped us. For who we are today. And this book really does give a platform for the authors to break the silence.
Well, okay. So tell everybody. First of all, I want to give a formal introduction of who you are, because some people know you because you've been here on the show before, but I still want people that maybe just encountering you for the first time, because this show streams in 100 countries. So there's somebody in one of these countries that may not know who Dr. Paulette Harper is, right? So Dr. Paulette Harper, she's a renowned figure in the literary world. She's achieved remarkable success as a 13-time best-selling and 2-time award-winning author. In addition to her accomplishments as an author, she is also the founder of One Story University, which is a leading online school that equips and aspiring authors and writers with a step-by-step process. I'm not giving all of her details because I want her to share some of her story, but I'm so honored to have you here today. Tell us why this book, Breaking the Silence.
Thank you so much, Kim, for having all of us on today. I so appreciate this platform. Why breaking the silence? When I'm doing an anthology, I really try to give voice to those who want to be part of these anthologies, voices to those who may have never been heard before. And so, with this book, Breaking the Silence, when a world is filled with a lot of noise and a lot of chaos, sometimes what we have to say goes silent. And so, this book gives people the opportunity to share their authentic self, to expose some of the things that may have happened to them, things that have shaped who they are. And now they're at a place where they know that their voices matter. They know that their voices and their stories need to be heard. And they're willing to say yes, they're willing to go through the process, and they're willing to be vulnerable to let other people know that, yeah, I want to break the silence on this, what happened to me in the past, and be okay with it as well.
Hmm. And when you come up with these different anthologies as the visionary author, how do you go about selecting who will be in that particular one? Because they're all so different.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There is no story the same, even though our experiences might be, but everybody's story is the same because every lesson is different. And so when I'm doing a book collaboration, it's an open call for submission. And so it's those people that want to be part of any one of my anthologies, they come and they listen to the vision behind it, they listen to the storyline, they listen to, the synopsis of the book, and it begins to resonate with them. And they begin to see, okay, I have a story that fits this, and those that have a story that fit any one of the book collaborations that I do, those will be the ones that say, yeah, I want to be part of this. I want to have my story included in this book because I want to make a difference, because my voice resonates and my story resonates with the idea that you have behind this book.
Wow. And how many authors are in this particular book?
Including me, there are 9 authors in this book. And so, when I'm doing anthologies, I have worked with anywhere between 9 and 20 authors. And so that is the blessing behind what I do, because any author, any first timer, those who've been, in this industry for many years, it's an opportunity for them to just, collaborate with me, especially those who haven't worked with me before.
Wow. And so this is like slightly different. You're an actual author yourself in this book. And why this book did you decide to write a chapter in there?
You know what, Kim? It's really about wanting to really break my silence on some things that had happened to me as well. And
Hmm.
so I'm in quite a few of my own anthologies. I want to give voice, to my stories as well. And so this particular one really does resonate with me. I have been sharing my backstory for quite some time, and there's so many layers to it. And so this is just one piece of those layers.
Okay, so you know what, you can tell you masterful at this. So you just say this is just one of those pieces of this of the layers. But goodness well, we want to hear what piece, a little teeny something, Dr. Paulette. So would you be willing to just give us a slight insight to your chapter?
Yeah, so my chapter really does talk about elevating my voice in the midst of trauma and bringing voice to the mental trauma that I had gone through, especially from in the church. A lot of times when we are in ministry, that piece of who we are, the mental, trauma, it goes unnoticed and it goes unaware, or we are aware of it, but we don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And so my story really does talk about just bringing awareness to trauma and coming from my place of my position being, a pastor's wife, a first lady, a co-pastor, whatever you want to call it. And so
Right.
I come from that place.
Wow. So y'all, you already heard it from the visionary author herself. that she's talking about church hurt in this regard in her story, and how to overcome some of the things that she's experienced. Even though you're not telling us your chapter, what advice would you give people that may be experiencing, and I don't know if we want to just say church hurt, because people are people, regardless of whether they go to a church building or whether they go to the mall or go to a football game or basketball game, they're just people. But when it comes from people that we worship with and fellowship with faithfully, it does hit differently, I believe. At least I can speak for my personal self. It hit me differently. And I'm not even in your book. So we ain't gonna talk about Kim's story right now, because Kim's story could have been in Breaking the Silence and wrote the whole book, not just one chapter. Tell us what advice you would give people on being able to break the silence in a godly manner.
That's good, Kim. Well, I would suggest those of you who want to break the silence in a godly manner, I would really say, seek out, after therapy. That was my solution. My equation is Jesus, prayer, and therapy, and they all work together, and that was me. And so that may not be necessarily you, but if it is, I want you to know that it's okay to seek therapy. It really is okay. You need to do whatever you can to get free and get released from it and get healed and whole from it.
Jesus, prayer, and therapy, y'all. Somebody type that in the comments section. Jesus, prayer, and therapy. That right there will bless your soul when you just pick this book up and hear her philosophy on being able to break the silence. Dr. Paulette, when you chose all of these different ones that are here today, is there anything you wanted to say pertaining to them before I turn the mic over? I know we're not on Clubhouse, right? But I'm going to turn the mic over to one of them. Anything you want to say before you say I'm finished?
Yeah, I think when I'm working with these authors, I get to know a personal piece of them, because when the story is in the book, it's a finished product, it's a polished product. But I get the privilege of knowing them one-on-one, and talking to them and what makes them get to that point. And as the coach, that's what I so thrive on, pulling out the creativity that lays dormant within them, and them allowing me to go to those depths within them, because one, as the coach, I already know that story is in them. And for me, it's really showing them how to shape that story so that that story really does identify with who they are as that writer.
Oh, I love it. I can imagine why everybody floods to you when you offer the opportunity for people to become a contributing author. And later in today's conversation, you will get to hear back again from Dr. Paulette Harper, and maybe be able to find out how you can be one of the contributing authors in one of her upcoming books. She's always working on the next thing. So she's not stagnant in any way, shape, or form. Now, before we go to commercial break, I would just like for each of you to unmute yourselves and just say, Christina, you first, and then Sheena, and then Parker, why did you become a part of this particular anthology? Then we're going to take a commercial break. Christina.
So for me, the title got to me, like Breaking the Silence. I don't know, it was just something about the name. And I felt like I had something that I needed to share. So I don't know. That's the reason why I did it.
Very interesting. So just the title alone grabbed you.
Yeah.
And so when you were offered the opportunity, you were like, it's a done deal. I have plenty to talk about and I need to break. But you were silent at some point. You were silent about it, but you knew you needed to break that silence.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Sheena.
As someone who uses her voice as a singer and a speaker, the title stuck out for me because I also knew that I was not using my voice in every way that God intended me to. And so that was part of the reason that I chose to be a part of this particular anthology.
Oh my gosh. And then now you already let the cat out the bag. Don't think that you're going to get off the episode without just belting at least one little tune. You said you're a singer. If you can sing, you can sing anywhere, right?
That's typically true.
I know. Is that wrong to assume that? Is that a myth?
There's some things behind that. We'll go into that later. But yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you talk like you can sing. So you're like, even me doing that, that's not on key. No, I'm not on key, no matter how you slice. And let me just add this one piece. I thought that whenever I was going to speak and talk and stuff, that I would come across a certain way. I always envisioned myself with a nice, deep, sultry voice. And hello and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. And that's what I thought. But when I actually start talking, I'm like, no, 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 no. I sound nothing like what I thought I would sound like.
But
So
it's
anyway, you can help me with
voice.
that.
It's your voice. It's uniquely yours, and your voice matters.
Yeah, but the Lord says make a joyful noise, not just any old noise.
Everybody's noise is joyful in some way.
Thank you. You're my favorite. I love it. God has no respect of person. He wants to hear my noise. All right, let's keep it going. Parker, why did you become a part of this anthology?
When the opportunity came, I had never written nonfiction before, and sharing my story was something that I had done before, but not in this medium. So I was really excited to stretch myself in this manner.
Oh, and it really was a big stretch for you?
Oh, yeah. I write historical romance. I don't write nonfiction. And so writing nonfiction, being personal about something that I usually keep quiet about was extremely difficult. But Paulette helped me.
Oh, okay, now I am, oh my gosh. And you look like you would write some kind of, what is it? What was it? What was it?
Historical romance.
See, that's why I look at you with your background, the mic all up there. Historical romance. So I need to know about some of your other books because I love reading. I'm an avid reader since I was a child, and now all of my children are avid readers as well. So here's the thing. We're going to take a commercial break. And because, again, we're streaming so many different places, if there's a slight delay, just chalk it up to the fact that even like CNN and different major broadcasts have glitches and stuff that happen, right? But when we have quite a few guests on all at once and we're all streaming, it glitches every once in a blue moon. But it's not anything I'm doing on this end. It's nothing I can do about it. Okay. And what I will tell you is if you feel like you're being cut off, just know that that's what's happening. Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We will be right back. And we're going to hear from you. Let me go ahead and set it up in advance. We're going to hear from you, Christina, when we come back to get your mind right. Okay. All right. We'll be right back right after this break, everybody.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
All right. So I don't know why this is happening because it's just doing its own thing over here. But I see so many things across the screen. I can't stop. It's good. It's getting extra publicity for the customer, so that's a good thing. But the commercial is ended, and attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm is the official sponsor here on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. And so I'd like to be able to acknowledge him. And if you're dealing with disability or wrongful death of a loved one, or you may be dealing that you've had some kind of claim that was denied or declined, make sure that you reach out to Hunter Everidge Law Firm. If you are in the Alabama area, or if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, or you're in the Carolinas, definitely give them a call and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. So let me pull their information up so you'll have access to the phone number. And it's also over in your comment section as well. All right. So Christina, welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. And tell us, if you would, well, first of all, I know that you're over there and you're working with your child, and we're always talking about how we balance different aspects of our lives, right? So I want people to know that you are a 39-year-old mother. You're a wife and you're an entrepreneur. And in 2017, you became a first-time author featured in Breaking Through Barriers, Volume 2, and Broken into Brilliance, Volumes 1 and 2. And you've been a part of quite a few anthologies at this point, When Queens Rise. You've also been a part of Women with Unshakable Faith. I have that here too. All of these books are just absolutely a tremendous must read books. And so today, I know you also do online jewelry that you sell with a beautiful boutique that you have that's unique, and you've been in business for yourself. So I'm so glad to have you here today on the Kim Jacobs Show. Very, very glad.
Thank you.
So if you would be kind enough to tell us why you want people to really lean on God. That's like a big thrust or a big focus of your life, that God can get you through some things. Tell us
Well,
why you have that philosophy.
I feel like for me, God's brought me through a lot of trials, a lot of things, and if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be. I
Mm,
would probably be dead,
mm,
because he's the one that held me, and he was with me through everything, even when my son had cancer, even when I was in my drug addiction, even when I was suicidal. God was right there with me in the midst of those dark times.
mm,
And it was hard, but that's why, I don't know, I always lean on God, and he's the one that helps me every day. He's the one that gives me strength, and I'm grateful to even, have a relationship with God.
mm. And how do you encourage other people? Because you said a lot of stuff right there. You said, your son with cancer, he brought you through that and he helped you get through that. That's God. You feel like God helped you through that situation. Then you said drug addiction, and you talked about being possibly suicidal. All of these things. These are all individual traumatic experiences that most people would never ever make it through, but you made it through it and you contributed to God and your belief in God. How do you encourage other people to see that God can be an answer for them?
I feel like for me, the way I encourage, I guess, is the way that I live my life.
Mm, okay.
And trying to show my kids. I was just in the car with my son, Hector, the one that overcame cancer. And I told him, "Are you going to come back to church?" I
Mm,
said, "Don't forget about what God did for you." I told him, all the stuff in the world, the enemy's going to make it seem like it's the best thing, but it's not. It's a lie. I
mm,
just told him, you need a relationship with God,
mm,
because we need God. He's the answer. And I told him there's only heaven and hell. And I told him we have free will. And he just stayed quiet, but I know he's listening to me.
mm.
And for me, like, to be a godly example to my children, that's the most important thing to me.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're saying that, because I feel the same way personally. And any of you all, you can unmute yourselves and chime in on a point if you like as well. But there are times that, because of some of the stuff that we've experienced as a family, that my children may not always want to go and be around other church people, type of thing. But the church people didn't do anything to them. It's just the situation happened that involved church people at the time. And so the same thing that you're saying, Christina, I just tell my children, if I'm at a service and I come home, I literally sit down and go through all of the scriptures, what was shared, how they can apply it to their lives, because I still believe that they're going to be held accountable for the word that God brought forth in that particular service. And if they're attached to me, then you need to know this word, because I believe in the word of God. And I don't want anyone attached to me that's my children to not understand what I believe God is trying to say to our family. But I don't judge or condemn anybody for whatever they choose to believe, because everybody has their own personal choice and their own personal right to hang their soul on whatever you want. But in my house, in my house, and in this house right here, more importantly than even just a physical house, I'm gonna serve the Lord. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So you are such an inspiration, Christina, and I can imagine that your life has inspired other people because they still get to see you still standing. What is the name of your chapter? And what can people walk away with from reading it?
So the name of my chapter is Healing in My Heart, and I talk about forgiveness towards my mother, and I talk about how I had unforgiveness towards her and a lot of things. Um, I feel like after you read my chapter, you really think about, like, on the inside, you really think about all the stuff that you've been holding on to,
Mm.
because unforgiveness is like drinking poison and you're hoping that the other person dies, but you're the one dying. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So for me writing this chapter, it's been freedom.
Mm.
I feel peace. I can actually sleep good at night now. Before I didn't sleep good. It's because I had unforgiveness, and God told me in this season, forgive your mom. And I realized she's not perfect. She's been through her own trials and tribulations. She's been through storms, and
Mm.
God's changing my heart towards her. I'm able to look at her with compassion, and I don't know, it's just, I know that I grown since writing this chapter. And I
Wow.
want people out there to know that, forgive, move on, trust God.
Wow. Yeah, you have to read her chapter, right? So, I mean, it's going to be a game changer for you when you read how you can go about forgiving someone that may or may not ever even ask for forgiveness, because sometimes people won't ask for forgiveness, but the forgiveness, like you said, is for us to be able to sleep better at night, right? I sleep good at night. I don't, it could be a whole bunch going on. I'll be like, I think it's a gift that God must have given me because I can sleep good, and I don't know how I can do that with some of the stuff I go through, you know? And I, as you hear me say, I go through present tense. It's not always past tense issues. Sometimes it's current situations that we still go through because we're human beings, right? But how we handle it and get to the other side, it does matter, in my opinion. All right. Well, now you also sell online jewelry. Tell us about that.
So my business is called Unique and Beautiful. I sell $5 jewelry, which is paparazzi. I don't know if you guys ever heard of
Oh,
it,
I love me some
but
paparazzi.
you know what? I like it, and the jewelry's pretty cute. I've been doing it for a couple years now, so it's going well.
Paparazzi jewelry is very cute. I have lots of it too, and have
I
friends
know.
that sell it. So yes, and you can't tell me nothing because I think well, some of my jewelry is really real, for real, for real. But I look at some of the stuff that I have this paparazzi, and I'm like, girl, I think it's who's might be wearing this stuff because it look real too to me.
I know these earrings right here are for my business.
Oh, okay, Christina. I am a hoop fanatic. Anybody that cares, I love hoops, right?
I love
So
hoops too.
so I'm always these have like little pearls in them. They may be paparazzi, I don't know. But this right here is real. Now that's a real piece. That right there was from an estate sale. So anyway, who cares? The point is paparazzi rocks. So any
Yeah.
hoops from paparazzi, I will rock them all day long. Anybody else love paparazzi, guys?
I love paparazzi. I absolutely adore them. And I like glittery things. I like things that shine. I always joke I'm like a raccoon that way. I just if it shines and sparkles, I love it. I don't have anything on right now, but yeah, I love it. So yeah.
And I
Oh man, man. Anybody else?
I used to be a paparazzi consultant. So yeah, absolutely love paparazzi.
Ah,
Used to be
so
a
see, you need to
consultant for a while.
reconnect with Christina over there.
I think that time in my journey may have passed, but
Okay.
it was fun while it lasted.
Well, you can definitely just support her business and purchase from
Absolutely.
her. How
Yeah.
can people stay connected with you, Christina?
So people can stay connected with me at Christina double A 2120 at outlook.com. That's my email. And then my Facebook is with Christina Aguilar. Instagram's my name. And then I have my website, which is Christina double A Aguilar dot canva site. And you can order the book from there.
Okay. Let me do I have that back here? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Put
did.
you put that in the private chat so that I can pull that and put it as a comment And that way people will
Okay.
know where they can get the book directly from you as well. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's Christina. And already forgiveness. I think how many of us know that we can learn so much more regardless of what we already think we know about forgiveness? Put a 1 in the comments if that's the case. And before we go on any further, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge some of our studio audience comments that's been flooding in. And sometimes the comments will be coming in and it'll be like, Kim, I said that at the beginning of the show. You just didn't even acknowledge what I was saying. So I got to go back and take a moment. I dropped my glasses. So this is a show about how we balance our lives. As you can see, I had to go and grab my glasses off the floor because they fell off my desk. All right, let's see. Let me go back and see who's here in the studio audience. Thank you, Christina, for that. And
You're
somebody
welcome.
type in the comment section, unforgiveness is like drinking poison. That's huge. Please type that in the comment section. Let's see. See comments. It's a lot of comments. Lord have mercy. And I don't have the person back here helping me. So I don't know. Okay, we got a lot coming in. But I see you, Dr. Tina Ramsey. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Kim Jacobs Show. She's with CTR Media Network. And so if you all are not familiar with CTR Media, we stream in 100 countries and 350 million households. And she is the president of CTR. So if you reach out to her, let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. And there's a specific form that you can also complete if you're interested in learning more. I see you, Vanita, in the house, and you said that you are here tuning in this morning from, where is she tuning in from? Florida? Yes, all the way from Florida. So thank you so much for being here today and being in your virtual seat. And who else? Did anybody have questions or anything? Dr. Tina Ramsey from the Tina Ramsey Show said, everybody, this is such a great show, great episode, and every voice is joyful. Yay.
Joyful.
Now, while we're going through these comments, did you have something down in your spirit, man, that you wanted to belt out for a second?
Oh no, not yet.
Oh,
Nothing.
okay.
Nothing has come up just yet.
I gotta wait till the Lord lead and guide into the way of all truth, and then He might reveal something to you. But just thinking from a perspective of breaking the silence.
Yeah.
There's something that we all need to know that is through song. And then you don't have to sing all of it, just one statement. Okay. Anyway, I am so happy to have you all here today. And we're talking with Dr. Paulette Harper and with some of the authors of Breaking the Silence. I want to put the book cover up so you'll know exactly how to get a copy of it and where to go. Dr. Paulette, where can people get a copy of the book?
They actually can get the ebook still available on Amazon. And I like to stress that we are number one best-selling authors as well. So you definitely want to grab several copies of the ebook. And then all the authors are selling the paperback on their website, and they can give you all that information as well.
Awesome. And when you do get the ebook, say if you get a copy for yourself, you can also gift it to someone else right there on the site. So keep that in mind. And if you want autographed copies, that's where you definitely want to go to these individual authors and get a copy directly from them, because they will sign it and ship it to you directly. Breaking the Silence, Unleashing the Power of Your Voice. And why that image, Dr. Paulette, that key in the keyhole?
Yeah, it's the key that unlocks doors and opportunities, and when you really unlock your voice, it opens up so many doors for you and opportunity. It really does shatter the ceiling that you have capped yourself out with. And so it's about unlocking who you really are, and it comes with unleashing your voice.
Wow. You're masterful at this. And so God just gives you all of this in your spirit for each individual anthology.
Yeah, he really does. I pray and ask him what the title should be, because within myself, I could just think of something, but I really do want it to resonate with the right authors. And they have been, because the stories match the title, you know. And so I really do. I do pray about what title what title my book is going to be, and just really rely on him to just really orchestrate how to go about conveying that, the synopsis to, those that want to be part of it.
Wow. Okay, listen, we're talking with Dr. Paulette Harper, and we're also talking with several of the contributing authors to the new book called Breaking the Silence. When we come back after this commercial break, we're going to get to hear from the romance queen herself over there, Parker Cole. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, everyone.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
Can you all still hear the commercial?
Not no more.
No, good. Okay, I can hear it over here. I'm like, I'm in my own world like this, like commercial still going on this end, but y'all can only hear me.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. Okay. Okay. So anyway, that is Confidence Tones. I mean, it's doing its own thing over here. So maybe I will tell people to just stream it to their audiences versus, which I think Christina was adamant about doing anyway. She was like, I don't want to do all of that connecting and stuff. But when there's a lot of people, it must be doing its own thing. But here's the deal. You all can't hear that, right?
No.
We only hear you.
Funny. It's actually playing the commercial over and over and over again on my end. I promise y'all, don't judge me. I am not crazy. Okay, I promise I'm hearing what I'm hearing. You know, like, what is wrong with her? What's going on with her today? I'm actually hearing the commercial the entire time, and it's just on a loop. But as long as y'all can hear, that's fine. All right, so I'll just get into acting mode and just keep going like I'm not hearing that. Parker, I am so excited to have you here today. And let me take a moment to introduce you. Undeniable talent and a sincere love for the gospel of Jesus Christ. Oh, this is that's you, Sheena. I already did it. Parker J. Cole is a USA Today best-selling author of historical romance, as well as a speaker, podcast host, and the CEO of the podcast network PJC Media. So make sure you all check that out. PJC Media. She's also an author and enjoys exploring history through the vehicle of romance. And she has a lot of different speaking topics. So definitely, if you're interested in having her be one of your speakers in the future, reach out to her. But her life is busy. She lives in Detroit and she has a whole gamut of interests. So I am so happy to have you here, Parker, you romance queen. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. And listen, I'm excited to learn more about your chapter, and especially with you coming from a whole different genre. What is your chapter title and what is it going to be about with the approval of Dr. Harper saying what you can say and can't say?
Well, the chapter title is called On Beauty, and I discuss my journey with dealing with low self esteem throughout my life and how the Lord really used a young girl at my church to help me get this monkey off my back that told me that I was beautiful. And the way I was beautiful, we usually say beautiful beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but actually beauty is in the eye of the creator. And as a creative, what I do, I create books. And when I'm done with that book, it's the way I want it to be, and I consider it beautiful. In the same way, God is the one who makes us beautiful, not people.
Oh, that's going to be what's in your book, how you give credit to a friend. Now, let me ask this. Does the friend know how important her role was in your life?
Oh, yeah. I've told her several times because at the time I had hit a really low point. And because of that low point, she responded to it and ended up breaking the chain off of me. So I had to let her know, if someone frees you, you say thank you, right? And so that's what I did.
Wow. So how important is it for someone in your younger years to step up to help in a situation like yours?
I think people need to realize that God can use who he wants to use. Age is simply a indicator of how old a person is. So someone can be used at 7, someone can be used at 70. And with that in mind, we have to be so in tune with what the Holy Spirit is doing that we have to be obedient to his word. And the Lord used her for me. And mind you, I've been in church all my life. I know a lot of different things, but that was something I kept quiet about. That I will look into the mirror and feel like the monster walking down the street. I will look into the mirror and think I was the most hideous person that ever lived. I had these really low self-esteem thoughts, and no one really knew. And I will always make self-deprecating jokes about myself. And so if someone would say something, I make a joke. Or I said, oh, someone big as me, or I look like a flea, and I would laugh because that's how you temper your own doubts and insecurities about yourself. You try to temper it with humor. And I had made a dark comment. I don't even remember what the comment was, but it was dark enough for her to get to respond to that. So you have to be attuned to what the Holy Spirit is telling you to do at that time.
I am so grateful that you're on here today sharing that, because to look at you, and that's so important, to look at a person on the exterior, you do not look like what you've been through at all. You just don't look like that would have ever come out of your mouth, that you'd look in the mirror and say some of the things that you were telling yourself. But we don't know what a person really is struggling with.
Yeah. And I think that's important, especially in our current climate where so many people are dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with depression, they're dealing with isolation, they're dealing with changes. And on the outside, they look okay, but on the inside, they're screaming out for help. And I believe that as a believer in God, we have to be change agents. We can't just simply talk it. We have to be cognizant of these things so we can use the opportunities of our voice to break chains off of someone. That's why Paulette's book, collection rather, resonates with so many people about breaking the silence. We're used to breaking the silence about, let's say, trafficking, but just breaking the silence about self-esteem and self-confidence, especially in a world that one woman said, only poor women are natural, indicating that as an elitist, you have to have work done on your body. You have to be artificial in some manner. You have to have plastic surgery. That is what makes you beautiful. So imagine someone who's poor, who can't afford those beauty treatments, being told they're not pretty. And that's today. This isn't 2021.
Right.
2023, a woman said, only poor women are natural. Imagine being told that your natural body is not beautiful enough.
I think my body looked, I don't, you know what? And I may be way off. Maybe it's just me personally feeling like this, and don't get me wrong. I want to be the best version of myself. So I know when I have my stomach hanging over in certain parts of my body, it's no need to act like I don't see the stomach. I see the stomach, right? So be it. But at the end of the day, I've had 5 babies come out of my body. Right. So, and that was a lot I'm just talking from Kim's perspective, to go in there and voluntarily have babies coming out of my body, that in the whole experience of that, they asked me one time, don't you want to get your tubes tied while we're here? I was like, I don't want to get nothing extra. I don't want to get nothing extra done on a voluntary basis right now. No, just let me go home and I'll deal with my life how God sees fit. But I'm not interested in certain things. Not that I judge anybody and for however they choose to handle their bodies, but I don't want to be just extra cut on if I don't have to be. I don't want to.
I think too, with getting like plastic surgeries, facelifts, tummy tucks, that's just a way to refresh your look. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be more beautiful from that. A lot of people, they see the effects of aging and just simply want to refresh their looks. I talked to a plastic surgeon about this some years ago, and that's one way she described it, was refreshing your look. But for someone to blatantly say you're only pretty if you're artificially made, that's the problem to me. That's the problem right there.
Right. Oh man, I forgot to say, I was supposed to say too that Dr. Paulette Harper, she is actually a busy woman and has another conference call that's happening regarding her book coming up in 10 minutes. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledge her getting ready to depart. And so thank you, Dr. Paulette Harper, for being on today and for bringing these authors here to the stage. We still have one more that we're going to hear from and maybe a little bit of a song. We'll see. But anyway, we are going to keep on with Parker. Parker, tell people too how they can stay connected with you.
So you can go to my website, parkerjcole.com, and all my social media links are there, as well as a link to the book.
Okay. And so again, if you want to get an autographed copy from Parker with a personalized message, and the same with Christina and Sheena and Dr. Paulette, if you want a personalized message from either of these authors, you can go to each of their individual websites, parkerjcole.com. What do you want people to walk away learning from your book when they read it? Because I consider this your own book because you're invested in this.
When you learn that the Lord made you the way he wanted you to be made and that he saw that it was good, regardless if you have any type of disabilities, any type of maybe birthmarks or something like that, he still considers you very beautiful. You are his child. You belong to him and you are beautiful. And just to paraphrase from the Song of Solomon, which is all about a man loving on his woman, he says, "Behold, my beloved, thou art fair." He said, "Thou art fair, you're beautiful." And if we're going to extrapolate from the Song of Solomon and say it's a similar relationship with that God has for the church, then as a bridegroom basking in the beauty of his bride, behold, you are lovely.
Behold, you are lovely. And just by hearing you talk, that I know you're a romantic author. That's why.
I love romance. I love romance. I've been reading romance since I was 14 years old. I read the Harlequins. Now I write for both the faith-based community and I write for Harlequin as well. So I do it both.
Goodness.
So, yeah.
So for you to be saying it like that, it made me feel like I was right there in the scene, in the moment of the situation, the way you're wording it. So y'all stay connected with parkerjcole.com, parkerjcole.com. All right. So let's get ready to hear from Sheena. And Sheena, I'm excited about you being here today and look forward to, I think I started reading your bio, but I want to go ahead and give you some proper kudos here. Let's see. Somebody was saying in the comments, I saw Mother Julia Harper. She was saying that this is a great show and great information. And she's in her 80s, y'all, this on here tuning in. Mother Julia Harper. You can't tell her nothing. Mother Julia Harper is I said if there was another book in the Bible, it would be the book of Julia, because she's such a anointed woman of God that literally has let her life be a walking example for what other people can do to love God and be an example of God. So I'm so happy that she's tuned in today. She also had a heart transplant, and the person was a 16-year-old boy. I think his name was Joshua, but 16-year-old boy, and she's had his heart beating in her for over 20 years. So I just want to give kudos to you, Mother Harper, for being here in the studio audience and for taking the time to type a comment on social media. I think that's that heart beating through you. You're like, hey, we're gonna be on some social media around here. So she's still young at heart. I am blessed. Great show. So much good information. Vanita, is the sound back on for you? I see that you made a comment about the sound. Oh yeah, you said this is a great episode. Good episode. I put my own word. I say great. So this is a good episode with great information and everything. Thank you for tuning in. So instead of me going to another commercial break, since this is over here like messing with me like I'm in the movie Get Out or something, it's like ding, and I'm like what is happening over here? So what I'm gonna do is just put a picture up and say something about my next episode sponsor. Y'all think that's fair? Because I can't go to no more commercial breaks. Why do I be in my own world over here? Let me introduce you all to someone. This young man is my son that you're going to see here. And speaking of body shaming and body images and different things, he's a person that fights cystic fibrosis, and it's a lung disease. And he's made a personal decision to not let it take control of his life. So he actually is a student at UNC Charlotte, and he also is NASM certified, National Association of Sports Medicine. And he went on a personal journey to be able to transform his own life, but he wants to be able to help other clients. So he's one of our episode sponsors, and he's taking 5 virtual clients. He already has some clients that he works with in person, but if you're around the country, you may not be able to get to Charlotte in person. So you can go to majorpt.com to learn more about Ivan Jacobs and his services. majorpt.com, and let him know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you his way. All right, Sheena, how are you today?
Oh, I am well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to change the banner out there, but I want to introduce you. Undeniable talent. I said that a few minutes ago, but that's because all of you all possess undeniable talent and a sincere love for the gospel of Jesus Christ. Sheena Evans is a gifted singer, a speaker, and a first-time author, and is also the co-author of the book, Breaking the Silence, Unleashing the Power of Your Voice. And we know that it's now available. You can get it from Sheena. We're going to share with you how you can do that. She was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and she's been singing since an early age. She's passionate about her intent to share the love of Jesus. And she's licensed as a minister under the leadership of her spiritual father, the late Bishop Stephen B. Hall Sr. She currently serves as minister at Elizabeth Baptist Church, where Bishop Craig L. Oliver Sr. is her pastor. And she serves there as a collaborative preacher and wears a lot of different hats. So welcome, Sheena, to the Kim Jacobs Show. How are you today?
I am well. Thank you again for having me. And I'm super excited about being here with all of these amazing ladies today.
Thank you. Now, you're a singer, and I know we keep talking about that, but how did you discover your gift to be able to even know that you were gifted in this area?
I really believe that it was a dream that the Lord kind of just placed in my heart. I don't know that I necessarily discovered it in that way. One of the things that a friend of mine says is, how do we know that an idea is a gift from God until we put our feet out and try it, right? And start working it out. And so if we believe that our steps are, or that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, and that is what we believe, then sometimes we just have to start taking steps to do a thing and allowing the Lord to reveal it to us as we go. And so that's kind of how this happened for me. Something pricked my heart when I saw Paulette's, reach for authors in this regard and for this particular anthology. And to be honest, I, wrestled with it for a while. It was a deadline date, like late in the midnight hour. I was laying in the bed. This is just my story, my testimony, laying in the bed. And I kept going back and forth about it. And I was just lying in the bed and I was like, Sheena, just do it. And I just went on there and paid for it and I was done, and from there, I think in my mind somewhere, I probably shut it down, but it was like, okay, I've put it out there and I'll figure it out later. Right. And that's kind of how we've gotten here.
Wow. Okay. So I'm definitely that person too. I'm like, okay, when is the deadline? And then I'm writing and waiting, and I'm like, okay, Kim, just get it to them already. I even sometimes have it written before, way before the deadline, but I'm still sitting there trying to contemplate. Am I gonna make some changes? Am I gonna do this?
Right.
I'm like,
We
why?
won't even talk about the writing process. Paulette really had to push me. I was probably one of her challenge children, I'll say, in this, because it was like she had to push me a little extra. But even in just starting the process, like I said, it was a prick in my spirit, if you will, an unction, as my mother would say it. And I felt like it was something that I was supposed to do, and decided to take the steps to do it, and here we are.
Awesome. So now in your chapter, what is it? What's the title, if you're willing to tell us that, and something now, Dr. Paulette gone, right? But we know y'all still gonna be obedient and all. But here is the deal. Tell us what you're allowed to tell us about your chapter.
So the title of my chapter is Your Voice Matters. And one of the things that I talk about is how when you find the power of your voice, and then you begin to use your voice, you then give someone else the freedom and the
Mm,
power to find their voice and begin to use it. And the reality is, all of our voices have a specific assignment in the earth. There is something specifically that God has placed you in the earth to do, something that nobody can say the way that you say it. Nobody can speak it the way that you speak it. If you're a singer, nobody can sing it the way that you sing it. If you're a musician, nobody can play it the way that you play it. If you're an author, nobody can write it the way you write it. Nobody can do exactly what it is that God has created you to do the way that He created you to do it. So there are certain people that are assigned to hear your voice. And if you don't do what it is that God has called you to do, the way that He has called you to do it, and use your voice in whatever that platform is, those people won't get to hear it. They won't get to know it. And so it's important that we find the power in our voice and use it, so that not only are we free, but others can be freed in the process.
yes, I talk about that very frequently, and a book that I've already had it written for 2 years. Just have to get it out of I literally have it in written form with all of this big binder stuff. Just got to get it to the publisher. But in the end, I do believe that everyone misses out if we don't use our gifts and talents that God trusts us with. He put them in us for a reason, and He wants us to utilize them because it's designated for someone in particular. And we don't know who that is until we start walking in that particular calling. So I'm excited that you're sharing your gifts with us today. And how do people use their voice if they aren't sure of their voice?
I think the first thing is finding out what your message is.
Okay.
You have to know what it is that you are to be saying. And as I kind of stated earlier, or alluded to earlier, I've been a singer since I was 3 years old, worship leader in my church, choir director, all of those things. So I was using my voice in a specific capacity, but I believe that there was another way that God intended for me to use my voice. And for a while, I really didn't know the power of my voice.
Mm.
I was using my voice. I was singing. I was doing those things that I love to do. I've always loved music, but I didn't really understand and know the power of my voice until Dr. Paulette actually alluded to this earlier as well, or spoke about this. I had to start dealing with the traumas in my life. I had to start, really going to therapy and allowing someone to sit down with me and helping me to unpack 30 plus years at that time of traumatic history. And so really being able to unpack those things and my voice was really lying under all of those things that had happened in my life. So I had to start going to therapy. I had to start being honest with God about what was really going on in my heart. I had to start being honest with myself. I had to start setting boundaries. So there are certain healing processes that need to happen in our lives. I think before, if you don't know your voice, if you don't know the power of your voice, if you don't know what your message is, start unpacking some of that mess. And I promise you that there's probably a message in there somewhere.
Wow. Okay. This is just incredible information that you're sharing. And you said a lot in a short period of time. And I think it's very helpful for people to identify what it is that would help them even know what they need to be saying, what the message needs to be, who they are, what God's purpose for them to do. There's so many things that people are going to learn from your chapter. So thank you so much. How do people stay connected to you? And I have lots of different information back here, but I'm going to pop. I see the Breaking the Silence site. Is that what that is?
Yes, so you can order the book directly from me on that particular site that is up right now. However, you can stay connected to me directly through bookingsheenae@gmail.com. That's my email address. Or you can go directly to my website, which is www.iamsheenaevans.com. All of my contact information is there: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I now have Threads. We have to add Threads to the
Threads have to be on everything.
Threads is the new thing, right? So I also have Threads. I do have to add Threads to the website, but I am on all of those platforms as either I am Sheena Evans, I am Sheena E, or just Sheena Evans.
Okay. So I am going to put that down there in the comment section. So that's why you're seeing it small there, but I'm also going to put it right here larger so you can know exactly how to go about emailing and reaching out to Sheena directly. If you're dealing with trying to find your voice, reach out to this woman. She's saying she would be happy to talk with you and to give you some advice or resource that might truly help you find who you are. Okay. Booking Sheena E. Is that what it is?
Booking Sheena E. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all using some of y'all Hollywood names. Booking Sheena E at gmail.com. I am Sheena Evans.com. I am Sheena Evans.com. All right. So that was outstanding. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I would love to hear just a closing comment from each of you, if you don't mind. And let me go with you. Now, Sheena, am I gonna hear at least one little line or no?
I think we should talk about coming back and doing that.
Come
that
on,
would be
man.
great. I would love to come back and talk about worship and music and all of that.
How about this?
Let's do it.
Can they hear your music somewhere?
Absolutely. You can find, I have a Christmas single that's out that's on my website as well. I am SheenaEvans.com, or you can go to Apple Music. You can go to Amazon Music. I do have a single that is there as well.
So I am SheenaEvans.com. If y'all want to hear a song that's been nicely put together for the holidays and you can play that at your family event, definitely check out I am SheenaEvans.com and hear her lovely voice. Okay. And then she's going to come back because each of you, I'm hoping, will come back for your own individual hour where we talk just about you, your backstory, what you've overcome to become who you are. And then you never know, we might at least play the video of Sheena. Okay. We're going to play something. That's what I'll do. What I'll do. Because I download the videos and I have it queued up and ready to go. All right. Let me hear a closing comment from you, Sheena.
My closing comment would be this. Regardless of what has happened in your life, whatever traumas you might have experienced, know this. Number one, that God loves you. His love for you never changed. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, God loved you and he had a purpose and a plan for your life. So don't allow whatever things that you've experienced in your life to stop you, to stifle you, to hinder you from finding your voice and saying yes, first and foremost, to a relationship with Jesus so that you can be reconciled with God in right relationship. But the second thing is so you can do all of the things that God has created you to do in the earth and making that impact that first of all impacts the life of others, but then brings glory to God. So know that God loves you, know that there's a specific purpose for your life, and know that God has something just for you to do so that you can have an impact in the world and bring glory to God.
And someone wanted to know, can they find your music on Spotify?
Yes, the Christmas single is on Spotify as well.
Yes. So all you have to do is check out Sheena Evans on Spotify and on her website, I am SheenaEvans.com. Let me go to parkerjcole.com. Y'all make sure you reach out to parkerjcole.com if you want to get a copy of the book directly from her. Tell us a closing comment, Parker.
Don't be afraid to admit your vulnerabilities, because the Lord will send someone to help you get over them. Being quiet is not always a sign of strength. Sometimes it's a sign of weakness. But when you are transparent, you never know how your transparency can help someone else. Wow. And as a person who is a storyteller, story is the universal language that connects us all together. And so be mindful of that as you go throughout life.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that. That's very encouraging. And let's hear from you, Christina. You're muted, so you have to just unmute yourself.
I want to read 2 scriptures if that's okay with you.
Yes, please.
So the first one's going to be Mark 11:25. And whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, that your heavenly Father in heaven may also forgive you. And then the second one is Ephesians 4:31. Let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. I don't know. The Lord wanted me to say those 2 scriptures.
Wow. I am so, and how people stay connected with you.
So you can stay connected with me. I guess you go to my email. You can email me at christina2120@outlook.com. And Facebook and Instagram, you just look up my name, Christina Aguilar. And then my personal website is Christina Aguilar.mycanva.site.
Okay. So you all please make sure you stay connected with Christina by going there and getting a copy of the book from her, and then also making sure that you get the prayer from her. She wants God to come into your life some kind of way. So she's welcoming this opportunity to pray for you and to pray with you. You can go to her Canva site as well, which is Christina Aguilar, is her Aguilar for those that are the podcast listeners. And just so you know, the Kim Jacobs Show streams on all of the audio, as many of the audio podcast downloads. If you're ever interested in just hearing the show, you can go and download all of these episodes right there on iHeartRadio, Spotify, you name it, SoundCloud, Deezer, iTunes, blah, 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 all of it. Okay. So just go and download if that's what you prefer to do, is hear it. And go to ChristinaAguilar.my.canva site, and you'll be able to get a copy of the book from her. All right, you guys, y'all are amazing. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
For having us. Absolutely.
We need to also
thank you so much.
We need to put Dr. Paulette Harper's website up one more time as well, just so you know, you can go directly to the visionary herself, and she'll sure direct you different places, but you can reach her at pauletteharper.com. pauletteharper.com. Make sure that you all share love and communicate with her. If you're interested in being one of her authors in an upcoming anthology, look her up, pauletteharper.com. Woo, I think I said a lot today. Don't y'all think so? All right. Listen, thank you in the studio audience for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with some more authors that are a part of Breaking the Silence, a whole different batch of people, and one of which I think is a male that's going to be talking his story. So you want to tune in. Gregory said, congratulations, ladies. And lots of comments have been coming in. Thank you all for your participation. Everybody, somebody wants to know, people are still wanting to know stuff from you, Sheena. Where is it? Lord, if you see the comment, read it out, because I can't.
Okay, I'm actually coming through some of the comments. I did see Gregory in there as well. Gregory is one of the authors as well in our book. So wanted to shout.
I think he's going to be on. Is he coming on tomorrow?
He is coming on. Yes.
Hey, Gregory.
So, hey, shout out to Gregory. Y'all tune back in so you can hear from him.
Yes. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. There you go with Sheena Evans. Look how you holding. Girl, you ain't playing. Come back. Can I find the music? All right, y'all. So it's a lot of great comments, and thank you for being such a wonderful studio audience. Have a grand rest of your day. Thank you, ladies. You're welcome to stay backstage for a minute, or feel free to go on with the rest of your wonderful day. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience.